Awesome. So I'm actually working for a government, and we have been watching you for years. No, I'm just kidding. No government would ever do that. But yeah. There are a lot of government IT houses in Estonia. I'm working for the first one. They're always very complicated. Ours is Center of Registries and Information Systems. Did I get it right? There are a lot of people from RIC in here today. But yeah, there are others actually, and they are really very, very similar. There are even more. These are like the most similar ones. So. What is my team's business domain? We are actually very close to business registry. We are doing business reporting area in RIC, and what we are trying to solve is that a lot of companies, they need to do a lot of application. There are a lot of very high barriers to send data, even with X-Road, to the government, because to get X-Road, you need to pay like 6,000 euros a year. This is not something as a small business owner that you can do. So you probably let accountant to handle this. And what we are building is simple REST-based open API to make life easier for businesses, and so they could send their business reports using their operating software more easily. There are a lot of these services available, but we try to standardize them and yeah, generally make it more simple. Yeah. So the project is called Unsealed, also known as Data Breach. We try to keep the Estonian name, but yeah, because Data Breach is very generic, and but yeah, remember Unsealed, you can Google it. There is a lot of info about this already available. It is an API. We try to keep it simple and secure. So this is where the acronym slide helps. It uses RIC and RIA security and monitoring solutions. We are in production actually since April. For micro-category companies, if you use any of the following accounting softwares, you can already automatically compile the annual report. And there are actually many more softwares that are in the staging for us. So as you can see, AR, this is our own product, so we are actually dog-fooding our API as well. It's pretty basic stuff, actually. We are very much believing in permaculture and yeah, keep it simple principles. Yeah, nothing special. Not a lot of microservices. So, and of course we have Swagger UI. Yeah, thank you. You can check it out. You can Google it. If yeah, just remember on the field. There are a lot of new reports coming up in the beginning of the next year. For example, you can, I don't know, value-added tax, social taxes, all kinds of reports. And yeah, if there is anything missing or you got a light bulb, you can contact me. So, yeah, this is about it. Yeah, let's continue. So, write me. Actually, also we have not in our team. We don't have any positions unfortunately available, but for RIC, we are looking for data scientists. We are looking for Linux engineer or cloud engineer, as we call these days. So we can also, I know there was this guy yesterday who was looking for a job, so maybe hit me up. Yeah, and I don't know if you want this one. No, this is first one. So, but yeah, it's okay. So there's first one. Thank you. You still my time.
Thank you. Okay, so next talk is by Mehdi, and the talk is about practical techniques for agents. Are you here? Are you ready? Yes, you are. You can come on and set up. Once you're done, we can then start the talk. Let's hope it all works. First try. Yeah, you have the slides on the screen? Yes, great. Okay, so your time starts now.
Okay, so hello, my name is Mehdi, and today I will talk about some practical techniques for agent productions. I know there's like many companies use agents for building chatbots and how to say, interacting with the users for different tasks, most likely the first how to say, agents in our minds are like LLMs are like GPT-4 and Claude, but unfortunately they are very costly and not very sustainable for production for most companies. So that's why they prefer to use open source LLMs like Llama and Mistral. But there is an issue about that because these lightweight models, they have a huge problems for hallucinations. So I'm going to show you some techniques how to limit them and how to use them efficiently. So for example here, as you can see, this is just an example. If we ask, this is in a tool calling issue. If we ask, for example, to book an appointment at 6 with Dr. McAllister, the agent is required to retrieve the time and the name of the doctor, and it hallucinated. It took another time, and also like it made a mistake in the name. So also there is an issue of missing inputs. Like for example, after the tool calling, when he tried to retrieve the necessary data for making an action, here in this case it didn't took the day, which is supposed to be Friday. So one of the main solutions is to use validators to check if the input that the LLM took is exactly like similar to what the user said. And let's say, for example, if the user mentioned Tallinn, like in this first case, it should be accepted. Also, Tallinn with misspelling, it should be accepted. But here, in general, the LLMs correct those typos. But if the LLM chooses Tokyo, so it's wrong. It should reject it. And there is a way to do this: is to calculate the relevant time distance to make an approximation. I will show you here like an example. This is a Python function where you have as an input like the value and the user text, which is for example, in many cases we use the last message of the human message, and the threshold, which is 85%. So we check like if the value is in the text, we automatically accept it. If no, we check the ratio. If it's approximative, we also accept the solution. So also one of the main solutions is to filter and retry on human input. Like for example, if we are missing, sometimes we are missing some data, like the LLM couldn't catch up some data on the input, so it tries again maybe with another shot. And in this case, it removes all of the like past AI messages and the human message. It just like keeps some few, just selected human inputs to try. Like in this case, for example, if you see in the second part of the code, we get the human message and then we try to call just using this message, like to merge based on the human message. If not, like we try another method. I mean, here it really depends, it's relative on each case. So also, like, this is a common solution that we use, especially like if we have, if the scenario, like, it necessitates, like, it's very important, I mean, it necessitates the high accuracy of the user, so we use human in the loop to ask the user about the confirmation, if it's correct or no, and after that, it resumes. So thank you, that's all from me. If you'd like to to discuss or anything, this is my QR code for my LinkedIn, and thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so we still had some time. Good job. Okay, I think we're ready for the next one. So this is called Python's built-in vector type by Yomi. Yes, I hope I'm not butchering your name.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yomi, and I'm very good for that.
Yeah, let's see.
Yes.
It's up. Is the mic working? Are you
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, it's
Very
right
good,
now.
thank
Okay,
you.
so-
The title, of course, is talking about computer is working, about advent of code. Who here knows what advent of code is? Who has participated in advent of code? Who has made it to the global leaderboard? Not many. Who has made it to their friends' leaderboards? Yeah, you can set up a leaderboard with your friends. For those who don't know what advent of code is, it has a programming puzzle every day in December leading up to Christmas, like an advent calendar, but you get a puzzle and you solve it in Python. That's optional, but you know. And you have to do it really fast. So this is from a few years ago when I still had a slight chance of getting on the leaderboard and there are too many participants. On the first day, my first solution was 1 minute 42 seconds, way too slow. The top 100 gets on the leaderboard. On day 6, I just made it. But on day 7, I was too tired and there were 50,000 people before me. So it's really stressful, which means fun. The typical AOC problem, this is not a real problem, but this is how they feel. You play like NetHack, you have this character in a maze and you have to navigate to the end, and you can use forward and left and nice jump while turning backwards and whatever. And then you want to count how many special kinds of sequences there are. So something really weird every time. Oops. How to represent coordinates and directions. This is the obvious approach, right? You have an x and a y and a dx and a dy for the direction, and then if you want to look ahead, so you add dy to y to dy and x to dx, and then look at the grid. And then to step forward, you do this, or I mean, you hope you do this. This doesn't work. You cannot do that to tuples. Sorry. And to turn left, you do that obvious thing. Or is it obvious? Who thinks this is correct? To turn left. You have dx and dy. Your direction in the x, on the x-axis and on the y-axis. To turn left, is this right or is it wrong? Who thinks it's wrong? Nobody thinks either. I think it's correct. The problem, I think this demonstrates it's not obvious, and time is ticking, and your friends are making it to the leaderboard before you. Well, one answer is to use NumPy. So you can add these. Addition works unlike tuples. And to turn left, you can do that. That's the Stack Overflow answer. It does something completely different. To actually turn left, you have to fill in this rotation matrix. And it's the same problem as before, but let's get it. I think it's that, but anyway, as some people have been going to say, there has to be a better way, and there is. The core team has given us a handy two-dimensional vector type invented in the 16th century by some Italians. So to say that x is 3 and y is 4, you say 3 plus 4j. So that these are called complex numbers if you skipped them in school, and they are really convenient for this task because to turn left, you multiply by 1j. It's perfect. Unless you need to index into a grid, you have to extract the parts and convert it into. But you don't have to do this. You can use a sparse map, a dictionary indexed by complex numbers. That works fine. So here's a quick reference. comparing complex numbers to the obvious solution, and as you can see, then these are far superior. So happy advent of code, and since there's still 20 seconds left, this is my plea to the core team to add quaternions, because complex numbers are only 2D, so well, when you get a 4D problem, you cannot apply this trick anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. So, let's have the next person come up. The talk will be about AutoGit, update multiple Git repos automatically. Yes, you're here, you're ready. Let's try to set everything up for you. Here's the mic. Getting the slides on the screen as well. Yeah, we'll just. Okay. Super. And we can start the time then.
Hello. I'm going to present a new tool that I have created. It's called AutoGit, and it can be used to update multiple Git repositories automatically. So let's begin with the problem. I have noticed a pattern at companies that whenever code base is growing, company ends up with multiple microservices, and those microservices use similar configuration, meaning that boilerplate, like rough configuration, is similar, and usually there is boilerplate repository created that allows to bootstrap new microservices easily. And the problem is that whenever that configuration has to be updated, you have to update multiple Git repositories, which is time consuming, and if we calculate, like if it takes to create 5 minutes to pump Python version in a single repository, and we have 100 repositories, it might take a day or more to update. And also there is human factor. You might skip a repository and you might mistype. So automating this process is useful. So the solution is to use automation tool that could apply simple modification to multiple repositories automatically. And AutoGit does that. Basically, you have to write code which modifies code. It can be Bash script, Python script, anything. You just have to have executable shell command that modifies your repository in the root of your Git repository. So here's a simple example. You write a Python script which just simply reads by project toml and updates its content slightly by pumping Python version. And you can simply run that command on multiple repositories. So you have to install AutoGit using pip, set API token that allows to communicate to GitLab or GitHub via API and execute AutoGit command by providing a file with a list of repository names and your executable, and that will create multiple pull requests. One thing I want to highlight that AutoGit resolves the throttling problem. GitHub and GitLab has heavy throttling limitations, so that you don't DDoS their backend, and AutoGit overcomes this issue by having only several concurrent threads hitting the API. And here's the demo. Just I'll quickly run to showcase the tool. So here I have AutoGit repositories, and I click enter, and this script will simply clone two repositories to a temporary directory, and it has created imaginary or automatically generated branch and created pull requests, and I can open those pull requests and see what was modified. These are pretty simple changes. They have added a single hello word to readme, but you can see that pull request was created, the branch was generated. This AutoGit has a lot of options. You can provide a commit message, pull request title, whatever you want, source, target branches, so you can provide as many parameters as you want. And thank you. The last slide is my LinkedIn, and please connect and leave a star support. So.
Thank you. Let's have the next person come up, and the talk is about hiding AI communication inside images. Very cool. And the talk is given by Gustav. So let's get all the text set up. Here's the mic. Yes, the clock is on. Okay, let's see if it works. We have it. Okay, let's start.
Okay, I'm Ristorek. I work in Petech as an infrastructure architect, and I do hardware and LLM or in sexy speak AI projects. And both I do these projects not only at work but as a hobby project as well. So let me show something that Stefano thought and other people that I should definitely show people. So here's a totally normal photo gallery, and if somebody would observe the traffic of this web server, it's regular traffic. You're just downloading images, uploading images, and nothing out of the ordinary. Just get the commands, and that's it. What, however, is happening inside these images is something that is definitely not normal. Let me zoom it in. This nice cloudy rainbow cat. So what is happening on the background is that I've made a local proxy. It runs in Python, in a Docker container, and it is on the client side. It connects to this web server, and when user makes an API request, then it downloads this cat image from this image gallery, slightly modifies some pixels of that cat image, and uploads it back again. And inside this modified pixels is API command. So in theory, this could be used with any LLM, but here in this example, I'm using Olama. For those who don't know it, it's a free framework for running LLMs. It has Python module and really cool stuff you can do with it. So those who haven't tested it, I highly recommend trying it. Now, so here I'm giving command to our Olama server, and we are asking what models do you have, and we are getting a response. So as you can see, sequence 1, we hid one message inside it, and this bottle doesn't have sequence. Oh, okay, demo effect. So I'm using this, connecting my home lab over the 4G. I have this in my pocket, so and time for backup. So basically what happens is that this is a control plane. So control plane is down here, and this data stream is these two images. The cat image is the client side, and the bottle image is the server side. And it uses these to exchange images. And I was kind of worried that if there's some sort of error, it wouldn't work correctly. So I also have control plane. So these two proxies that on the server side and on the client side communicate directly to manage any errors, but apparently not that well. So what happens here is that when we request for models, this is what we get in return. This gives out all the little baby Skynets that I have in my system. So there's a list of bunch of LLMs that I have, the models, the sizes, and so on and so forth. And when we do MySQL, so in here we are using model 5.4 to, let's see, maybe it works. But yeah, the query looks like this, and we're asking what is steganography. Answer in 10 words, and this is the answer we get back. So basically what we have done here is that we have asked LLM a question, and it came over the images. So we're communicating with the LLM over images. Thank you.
Thank you for the talk. Next we have a person talking about data dialing. Are you here? Yeah, so.
Do you have another mic? Do you have two mics?
Can we get a second? Yeah, we have 2 mics. So here's the second one. And you can set up the computer quickly. I think you have to, yeah, it's not mirrored. Yeah, close. Yeah, here you go. So, the clock starts now.
Okay, hello, I'm Isaac.
And hi, I'm Andy. Together we are the PyCon Estonia team. We both have day jobs, but we organized this as a volunteer effort. So what is it that we are doing? There you go. Who in this room works with data or models primarily as their job? So who's a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, machine learning engineer, or any sort of other job that is similar to this? Okay, we've got a couple of hands. Maybe some other people are taught in Data Week. Unfortunately missed this great presentation. So Isaac and I are also people like that, and a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, we were wondering, wouldn't it be cool to have people like us who talk about interesting work they're doing, or who talk about, sort of teach us something new that we didn't know before. And at that time, nothing like this existed, so we decided to make it ourselves. So PyCon Estonia is a group by data professionals, so that all of our speakers are volunteers as well, and it's for data professionals. And we're aiming to have technical content that's interesting and teach people new things. As I mentioned, we're a volunteer effort. So what you do when you are a tailless, headless, and resourceless organization and you get a booth at PyCon, you borrow a whiteboard from your wife and you come up with something creative, which in our case was our pronunciation poll. And Isaac will present the results.
So, many people, who has voted on this board, by the way? Most of the room, amazing. Okay, great. Let's start with something that is less controversial. So how do we pronounce this?
Basically.
So a large amount of people chose SQL at the bottom of it. We have some SQL people in the middle. We do have 4 outliers that wanted to call it squeal. I'm not sure why.
We know one of them was Latvian and said they would not be here. Who are the other 3? Identify yourselves. Excellent.
Okay,
very great. Thank you.
Coming up next is your DevOps favorite. So we have a few options. Starting from the top, we have Kubernetes. We have K8s, which is the shorthand. We have...
Yes, we were looking into this and I dug a little bit too deep maybe. But from now on, when anybody asks me how I pronounce this, I tell them that I prefer the original ancient Greek spelling and pronunciation, which is, by the way, Kubernetes. There you go. So please, when you feel it would be a little bit adventurous, put on your best turtleneck or scarf and start telling all of your coworkers that actually it's Kubernetes.
And then there's the rest of the world who pronounces it as Kubernetes. Anyway, the next one we have the scientist favorite who pushes this to prod. No, nobody pushes this to prod. So for this, large majority says Jupiter. We do have some people saying Jupiter.
Jupiter. Yeah.
Jupiter. Okay. And then there's this as well. We're also a bit torn on this. There are more than the original options available. Starting with the top at Java. We have one. Where is our friend who said Java? Java, there you go.
And who apparently also knows the International Phonetic Alphabet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, very knowledgeable. Thank you. And then there's the rest of the world, Java. We have 2 more. This is the second last one. How do you say? So, Andy thinks it's...
I lived in the US South for 15 years, for me it's mobile.
Okay. I just disagree. I'm from Canada, so I say mobile.
Tomato.
Yeah, we have another 40 seconds, so I'll go to the last one. This is your Python package index, which, again, a bit confusing. So there's PyP, not sure. PyPI, and then PyPy.
It's yeah, the last one is what do you call something that's like a pipe? It's pipey. Yeah.
And then Lukács has some strong opinions. Yes. Let us know after we got 20 seconds.
All right, cool. So if you haven't heard about a group before and you think that you might be interested in coming to one of our events, so this is like we aim to have it quarterly. It's 2 or 3 hours after work. And we have 2 or 3 speakers who talk about data science topics. Can you go back one? Yeah, you can, best way is join our meetup group and you'll get notified when we schedule new events. We don't send spam mail, you just find out when we schedule a new event. And if you were ready to take the next step, like 2 of the speakers here, who talked in our group before they had the courage to come up here at PyCon, then we have a speaker forum where you can submit proposals.
Thank you for the talk. And actually, we can welcome back to the stage Andrew. Yeah, you're here. And Andrew will now show us what can the terminal do. So let's see if we can get it set up quickly. After Andrew, we still have 2 more talks left, so quite a bit of exciting stuff still coming. Let's also get it on the main screen, maybe. be checked. Okay, we have it up now.
Oh, you do have wonderful.
Yes.
I think my microphone is no, give me time.
Yeah, it's just a mic. Let's get the mic working for Andrew. And can we restart the clock actually? Is that an option? Yeah, we have it now. Let's rip sound.
Okay,
Yes.
we have sound, right. Hello everyone, it is me, Andrew again. If you were not fed up with me before, you will be now. So I will be talking about what can the terminal really do. That's right, I will be mansplaining to an audience which is 80% technical about what the terminal is. So, first off, the terminal. I just want to be clear, this here is not a terminal. I am being very didactic here. This on the left is technically called a terminal emulator. This is a terminal. It is the device at the end, which people used to use for interacting with their mainframes. This on the left is a terminal emulator, but everyone calls that a terminal now. I am going to be speaking very fast, by the way. I'm aware of the time constraint, and the clock is applying a lot of pressure to me. So what can the terminal do? It can display text. Fascinating. This is why you paid all that money in order to come here, to have a kid stand on stage and tell you that terminals can display text. Wonderful. What else can terminals do? They can execute commands. So I can, for example, open up a terminal, and I can run ls to list my directory contents. I can do pwd to print my working directory. Or I can do fg to resume the presentation. Usually this uses shells, which are things like bash. Unfortunately, we use things like bash. Bash kind of sucks, and there are many alternative better shells. Developers love to get into arguments about what the best shells are. But I'm going to say better in quotes here because they all suck. There is no best shell. All of them are rubbish, and people will wage wars about this. And also the terminal can display text. Is this You can display text in many interesting ways. For example, you can display over existing text. My favorite example of this is something called SL, which is like LS, except if you make a typo, it displays a steam locomotive that goes across your screen. What else can you do? You can display in color. This is useful for programs like HTOP, which display, it's basically Task Manager on Linux in the terminal for nerds. It displays in color so that it's a bit easier to see if your CPU is being absolutely nuked by a rogue Python process. You have other crazy capabilities. For example, you can have mouse input. If I go back to HTOP here, I can click around and the terminal can detect that I am clicking. You have dynamic font sizes. For instance, this presentation here is in the terminal. You can see that you have different font sizes within the same terminal window. This is a weird Kitty protocol which very few terminals implement because it's very cursed. You can display images. So for example, at the start of this presentation, I was displaying images here. This is again in the terminal. You can see these are images here loaded using formats like Kitty and Sixel. Once again, what can the terminal do? Can you play films in the terminal? Yes, you can. A very famous example is on a server called tower.blinkenlights.nl, which had a Star Wars episode. Unfortunately, the server is now offline. I do have a local copy of it though, so let's run that. Oh, there we go. That is what you see displayed. It is an entire episode of Star Wars, entirely rendered in ASCII text in the terminal. It's actually pretty good. Someone had to sit there and make this character by character. I'm really impressed. What else is there? Can you make fully functional applications? Yes, you can. There's a person called Will McGugan who lives in Edinburgh, my hometown, who makes this library. These libraries, you've probably used them before. One of them is Rich, and one of them is Textual. They're used for displaying graphics in the terminal. It's truly amazing stuff. Tool run posting. Is this going to work? Yes, it is. For example, there is an alternative to Postman called Posting, which is entirely within the terminal. What else is there? Can it run a desktop environment? Okay, that's going a bit far. No, you absolutely can. Introducing Term OS. This was a project I had worked on about half a year ago, I think. It is essentially a desktop environment in the terminal. It's kind of basic in its functionality. It's basically entirely built on top of Will McGugan's Textual, but
you can use this as a desktop environment, as a primitive one. So for example, I can open up Notepad, select Python here, and start doing development. And you can select text, you can copy, paste. Let's close out of that now. I'm going to close the sidebar. You can have different applications display on top of each other, drag them around with a mouse, minimize them, maximize them. You can even run a basic web browser here. So let's see if I can. Let's see, is that going to work? Hopefully, yes, there we go. There is the GitHub website in the terminal. So, to bring this all together, some definition of terminal from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The main one?
So sorry for cutting you off, but it is what it is. Okay, so the next talk is going to be by Nadia, and it's about Beyond GPTs, leading your team of AI specialists. Let's get you here to set up. Yeah, and your phone. Is it yours?
No, that's not mine.
Okay, so there is a phone here. Also, yeah, it's there. So the clock starts now. Welcome, Nadia.
Hey, sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, great. Hey, I'm Nadia, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how you can work with multiple AI specialists flexibly to get great results on a complex creative task while maintaining consistent context across your interactions with all of them. So for the sake of this demo, let's say I have a rough content idea and I want to turn it into a well-researched, strategic point of view that I can confidently share. I have 3 AI specialists that would make a great team for this. My research prompt architect, my strategist, and my writing specialist. So to give you an idea of what those look like, I'll show you the system instructions briefly for one of them. You can see that these are quite detailed. There's a lot more context here than is available in, say, a GPT. And all 3 of them look roughly like this. So, with that, let's get into it, and may the demo gods smile upon us this day. All right. So first, I'm asking my research prompt assistant to turn this vague idea I have into a professional research plan. So the prompt that I have in here is, I want to develop a point of view on how online course creators can use AI to improve customer service. I'm planning to use these insights to draft a piece of content that's both strategic and practical. But for now, we're just doing research to solidify a direction. Please help me craft a complexity research prompt to find interesting, data-backed angles to explore. For the sake of time, please skip any clarifying questions and send your output right away. As you can see, we have this detailed research prompt here. And next, I'm switching to my strategist and to execute the research plan. So the prompt here is, please execute the research plan above via your complexity tool. For the sake of time, please execute this plan in one shot rather than tackling each part sequentially, which is normally what we would do. So now it's running complexity. And you can see that these prompts are quite short. And as Stefano alluded to yesterday, the reason for this, the reason you can do this is there's so much context in the system prompt itself. And next, I'm going to ask that same assistant to analyze our raw data to find a unique insight, basically to turn this information into content strategy. This prompt says, thank you, now please do a quick analysis of these findings and synthesize a unique contrarian point of view that's based on data and relevant to and strategic for course creators. And the final step here is to switch to hand all of this context and strategy to my communicator to translate it into an authentic post that sounds like me. So I'm switching the assistant, and I'm also going to switch to Claude Sonnet 4.5 because it's a better writer than Gemini in my experience. This prompt is just, please write a LinkedIn post based on the point of view and research above. Thank you. And there's the post. So normally I look at all of these outputs a lot more closely and engage more deeply with the process, but on first glance, this looks like a strategic, solidly researched piece of content. Not bad for 3 minutes. In terms of complexity and capability, this process sits somewhere between a custom GPT and a fully agentic workflow, and it can be a bridge between the two. As Vitaly mentioned yesterday, dynamically directing a team of AIs in this way can inform a more autonomous system down the line. You test your assistants, refine your system instructions and workflow over time, and as these things become stable, you can build your refined assistants into a more agentic system. And that is a wrap. Thank you.
You made it, thank you. And now we have the last talk for this. Sidek, are you here? Yeah, you can come on up and set up. I don't have a talking theme for you, so you can just announce it yourself. The mic, maybe let's. Are we seeing this on the main screen as well?
Good.
Yeah, I think we have.
Okay. Yeah. Who here was at my session in the morning? Awesome. Awesome. It doesn't matter how many times people have asked this question today, I'm going to ask my own. How many people here are data engineers? Okay. Data scientists, data analysts, people who work with data? Okay, good. At some point, as a data professional, you will need to kind of work with files, and sometimes the files are not really in where you want to work with them. So I am Sadiq. I work at Google as a data analytics specialist customer engineer. So I work with customers around Europe, UK and Ireland, and I help them with unique problems. So there was a time that I was working with someone that needs to get some files from SharePoint. And I was like, oh, Python can do that. Well, the point is you need to get these files periodically from time to time. So I just decided to write an application to do that for them periodically, and then push that on Airflow. How many people here knows about Airflow? Okay, so Airflow is an orchestrator that you can use to run a lot of your jobs. It doesn't really matter if it's data or analytics, you can use that to do that. So I prepared this SharePoint to GCS. GCS is Google Cloud Storage, so it helps you to get your data from whatever application you have or site you have on SharePoint, and then pushes it into GCS, Google Cloud Storage. So the first thing is, knowing exactly where the files are. I hope you can see my screen. So I've got a bunch of files there. So the first thing I did was setting up a Google Cloud Composer environment. So, and then I created a folder, which is the folder where I want those files to be stored once it's being retrieved from SharePoint. Now I set that up in Composer. I'm using Composer 3 because it's new. I provisioned that environment, and then I have a stable Composer environment. The first thing I did was get the DAGs and push my DAG into the DAG folder. So with the DAG now, I'm able to run a fully full Airflow environment. Now, what does the DAG look like? You have a bunch of Python files, Python scripts, which just gets your site information, gets your username, how frequently you want to run this job, and it also gets the details about your project ID, GCP bucket. Once you're able to do that, all you need to do is run the updates to GCX. Now, once you do that, and you run that on Airflow, this is what the Airflow UI looks like. You're able to run that job, and it gives you, okay, yeah, there might be some things that you need to store. In your Airflow environment, on Composer, you can store your variables like your username and password. It's secure, so it's the best way of storing this information. There is something that you need to do as well. You will need to install some packages, and I think I've skipped that. There is also, yes, there is Office 365 REST Python client, API that you need to package that you need to install. Once you install that, I think you're good to go. And you can job this as many times as you want, but a successful run, this is what it looks like. Your DAG will be like transfer files, and if it's successful, you have success. And at the end of the day, all those files, you see them here in your GCS bucket. And I think that is the end of my talk. If you need to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, that's my website. And yeah, thank you very much.